Welcome to your Daily 5 for Monday, May 8th, 2023. I do love the fact that now new movies arrive for video on demand within usually a month, if not less than that, 2 weeks in some cases, which is how I got to watch Renfield, the movie that was released earlier this year starring Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult, which is, apparently it has been described as an adventure comedy in the modern world. I saw that description of it, apparently. I call it a vampire horror comedy film because I think that's what it is. And for those who have not seen anything about it, it's essentially a movie about a, what's the word for it? Abusive relationship between Renfield from, of course, the classic Dracula novel, and Dracula himself. Nicholas Hoult is playing Renfield, and Nicolas Cage is playing Dracula. Apparently one of the three big roles he's always wanted to play, and so he took this role and is playing very much. It is meant to be a sequel to the 1931 Dracula film. This is supposed to continue, so this is supposed to take place in the same world, and Nicolas Cage playing the same vampire that Bela Lugosi did. And it very much comes off that way. The opening of the film shows some black and white clips where they've inserted Nicolas Cage and Nicholas Hoult into the older films, and it is very much meant to show that this is the classic Dracula that we know from pop culture. And then we come to the modern day where we find that Renfield is attending basically an abusive relationship support group and telling people about Dracula and what the relationship is doing to him. Now, I won't spoil the rest of the movie in the 5 because I would need more than 5 minutes to talk about it anyway, but that's the basic setup. And what follows is very much what I would call a horror comedy, which is about essentially two people who are in an abusive relationship. One is the abuser, that's Dracula, and one is the person being abused, that's Renfield. And Renfield's attempts to try to break the cycle of abuse that he's trapped in. And that's essentially what the movie is. It's just layered with lots of very over-the-top gore and action sequences and a crime subplot with Awkwafina playing a police officer. And I cannot remember what his name is. He plays John Ralphio on Parks and Rec playing a gangster. And so that is kind of the secondary plot that then catches Renfield up in it when he helps to stop an assassination attempt on Awkwafina's character and kind of becomes smitten with her. And then the movie kind of takes off from there with sort of a secondary sort of romance plot and a secondary sort of crime family thing. And I use the word secondary kind of. The reason I'm using that phrase is because I think this is the weakest part of the movie. Overall, I love the movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. But where they tried to expand past that core concept of the abusive relationship, that's where the movie kind of doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. It doesn't ever really feel like it's properly developing those secondary storylines, either in terms of the relationship between Renfield and, what is the police officer's name? I think it's Quincy. Or with the crime boss, because it really kind of fast forwards on what you're supposed to be getting out of those secondary plots. And I don't think it does a great job of it. But honestly, it really doesn't matter because the core concern of the film, which is Renfield and Dracula, that part is great. Nicholas Hoult is fantastic in this, playing a very put upon, clearly abused character. Nick Cage is having a blast. It's very obvious, playing a very exaggerated Dracula, which plays perfectly into his strengths. Now, he doesn't just go crazy and scream all the time. He definitely has these moments of restraint, but it is so clear that this is a character he has been dreaming of playing. You can just see it. He's very naturally slipping into this interpretation of Dracula, and I think it is perfection. It's not going to be, it's not like any other Dracula I've seen before, but instead is kind of a blending of many Draculas that I've seen before. And so between his portrayal of Dracula, which the film, a lot of people have said they wanted more of it. I think the film is smart to use him as much as it does and not too much more. I think you take a risk in using him too much in this role. Instead, a lot of the movie is put on Holt's shoulders and Awkwafina to some degree, but it really is Holt's movie. And fortunately, he does a great job with it. And it is at times very funny. Some of the gore slapstick stuff is fantastic. Again, I'm not going to say it's a flawless film. I'll get into it in more detail on Friday. But overall, I had a blast with it. I think it's a lot of fun because I'd read a lot of mixed reviews. So I wasn't sure going in if I would like it as much as I did, but I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. So again, Renfield 2023, I think absolutely worth a full rental, but at some point you should watch it later.